The global launch of Crystal of Atlan was rough, and I can't deny it. Some things are really just bad, but some things are being over-exaggerated by other creators or people in Reddit. Hey, what's up? My name is Zackie, and I need to mention this really early because in my videos nowadays, I feel like people don't really watch until the end. Crystal of Atlan is not a gacha game. The PvP is balanced. This too, I have to get this too out because people are confused. I have seen comments with people telling me that this is a pay-to-win PvP because of others' misinformation. Now, the combo system or the combat system in Crystal of Atlan is by far one of my favorite, and that's the reason why I'm gonna keep playing. I read through the entire story of the game and it really isn't that bad. You can even go back to your room and listen to the music, and at the music over there, there's this little lore, you can read more about it. I actually like some of the JP and English dubbing. English dubbing only at the start I was using, and eventually I swapped to JP dubbing. I didn't have a lot of MMO experience, at least modern MMO, but I'll lay them up so that you can know what kind of person I am. As far as MMO experience, my first one would be Yulgang or Science of Fate at the age of 12. I played Tales of Pirate for 3 or 4 years. Cabal, The Revolution of Action, I played for like 9 years, okay? And I play Mad Bull Story from time to time, and it's one of the great games because every character has different story. I think I stopped playing for about 8 years ago, and then my little brother, he was playing and he told me that the Black Wizard was finally defeated and now there's some sort of other enemies. But there are some MMOs that I barely touch. I played a little bit, but my commitment most of the time was to Cabal Online because I was really addicted to it. I played games like Dragonica, El Sword, Soul Worker, Fly for Fun, Mosiang, and maybe there's more, but I really couldn't remember. Aside from MMO, during those days I also have played tons of Wolf Team, Gunbound, Rumble Fighter, and my favorites of all time, GunZ or GunZ the Duel. I don't play a lot of Western MMO, and you notice the games I've played mostly are Asian developers, especially Korea and China. They're mostly pay-to-win heavy, and it didn't really bother me because it was a free game at the time. But nowadays, if you tell people it's a free game, they expect the game to be free-to-play friendly in the leaderboard. With how time passed, and more games transitioning into gacha-free MMO, Crystal of Atlan really gives me all those old days memories, especially with the class system and the way it's designed. I don't really care about big open world at this age of 30 or 31 due to the fact that I'm a working adult. I work 10 hours a day, 6 times a week. I work on some side hustle as well, and consider that Cabal is my favorite MMO. I used to grind dungeons like Seals of Darkness, Illusion Castle, and there's this little nation war where we have a 50 versus 50. I grind like 8 to 9 hours a day. Part of the reason why when I was around the age of 16 to 17, when most of my friends started playing upgraded graphics MMO like Vindictus, Guild War 2, Warframe, or even Blade and so, mainly because I'm still like a teenager in school and I live in a developing country. And aside from just living in a developing country such as Malaysia, I was living in the countryside known as Kelantan. You might not understand why I can't afford it, hence the reason why I don't have a lot of experience with modern MMO, or the one I play are pretty old school or Asian. But my condition was pretty bad until I had to move to the city to discover a lot of things. Just a few days ago, I made the upgrade to 5060. I have a house, I have a stable job. Things are much more blessing to me now, and look at Southeast Asia country now. You might think, why don't people just get a PC? In Southeast Asia, our economies are shit. Political corruptions are pretty bad. It's worse than what you think, and middle class parents can't afford even a decent gaming PC. Thus resulting with teenagers just playing on their mobile phone. Why does this have anything to do with us? Because when these teenagers transition to adult, which are Gen Z, they don't know how to use PC. But we're not here to talk about PC since Crystal of Atlan is available on mobiles, right? Now, I might be from Malaysia, but I feel like Southeast Asia countries are not too different among each other, such as Filipino, sana all for watching me. Thailand, Sawadee-ka, Kokong Kap. Indonesia, apa kabar kapap, Ibu Bapa, thank you so much for watching, terima kasih, and so forth. Crystal of Atlan or Nuers understood its audience are most likely Southeast Asia, and hence they run pretty heavy advertisement on Southeast Asia country. And if you look up on Google Trend, the top search of Crystal of Atlan is coming from the Southeast Asia country. Any creator that says this game is going to die didn't understand our Southeast Asia culture. Most of us are pretty okay with contents being pay to win. We're just here to have fun. Because in gacha game, you're not disturbed by other people being a whale, but because in Crystal of Atlan you are, I don't know, people are having PTSD when they just check out the skin shop, you know, because of the stats it grants. But I enjoy doing an entire playthrough of different classes. Crystal of Atlan isn't for everyone, but it didn't do the right things such as time gating. On the CN version day 1, I was never restricted by time gated, hence the reason why I can clear every class the day I created the character. I don't know why they want to time gate us. That's just super bad and it's super ineffective. Being time gated is my biggest issue with the global release. Why are we being time gated on the global version while I'm not being time gated on the CN version? You could argue that this is some sort of ways to prevent people from being addicted to the game. Then my argument would be so they can keep playing the PvP non-stop for hours? Or they'll just simply play another game. Look, I work as a healthcare provider. I don't condone that gamers need to take break every 3 to 4 hours, such as prolonged sitting could lead to insulin resistance, sedentary lifestyle, or even hemorrhoid, because that is one of the... I work pretty closely at the hospital with psychology department, and I've seen a lot of teenagers and young adults want to keep playing video games but didn't know how to limit themselves. So you might be thinking, I want to do whatever I want. I want to keep playing video games, but I have seen like obese people with heart block eventually ended up with a bypass and wondering why all this has happened and lives in regret. A lot of people don't know that, and time gating is just really bad in Crystal of Atlan. I think they should have gone with a prompt up. The stamina system is a different topic. I don't think the stamina system does affect. Of course, at the start of the game, it does affect you until you reach level 60 or having multiple outs, and then eventually everything will become some sort of a chore. But I don't think it's even that the stamina is even that bad. The real bad thing is just the time gate. If you want to stop people from gaming, then just make a pop-up saying you've been playing for 3 to 4 hours. I suggest you taking a break, because people don't like to be forced to take a break. They're gonna go play something else. But it'd be nice if you give them a reminder, right? And even with the reminder they eventually don't want to do it, you can't make them do it. You just can't. I can't force my patient to exercise. I can't force my patient to eat healthy. There's a lot of things that only if people willing to do, they're willing to do. But reminders are good enough. Let's get back to time gating and why it's bad. What's worse is that when I create a second character on a second day, I'm facing another time gate. Why can it not just be my main even if you want to do it that badly, you know? Make me realize that I should just create all my alternative characters on day 1. I might seem over exaggerating, but it's just ineffective. I freaking hate the time gate. It's useless. If your argument for the time gate is to not wanting players to rush through the content, then maybe create more endgame event based content instead of telling people to come back tomorrow, eventually losing potential customer and leaving bad impression. Now nowadays, if you launch a game, you only have a first impression. Let's talk about the gacha system. It's really not that different compared to the CN version, except they sprinkle a gacha animation on top of it. Tapping the little button and going into this gacha lobby, it's kind of like VIP wise. VIP, I don't know if there's a continuous tense for that. Well, there's title and SS skin on the skin banner, which immediately threw a lot of players off, and a pet banner. There's going to be a lot more pets in the future that is going to be a lot more stronger and useful. The gacha pet that we're having on global is given to us free on CN. To every players, we are given it free. And if you still argue like, oh, skins, we are also given free skins. Even free SS skin, but they don't give you all the pieces. Again, you're FTP, you can't complain, right? So like I said again, the gacha system is really just an old school MMO loot box system. They just sprinkle the gacha menu on it. I don't think it's a really big problem because I play on CN, I know that. But global players are just having PTSD when they see a gacha system without questioning it. People get PTSD even looking at the stamina system, really. But my problem again is just the time gate. The game gives you a lot of prismadium, which is the F2P currency of the game. You get this through maintenance, you get this through event, you get this through whales buying your goals in the consignment shop or something like that. Look, you're free to play players in a game that's free to play. Things are going to get hard for you, of course. My advice for you is to go for guarantee or 3 copies of a pet. Now, the top 3 pets on CN is the Crimson Kirin, the Ice Wolf, and the new Aqua Stingray. By far, I do not know how global devs are going to adjust their stats, so there's no promise there, but in CN, these are the strongest pet out there. Another argument is that the SS skin has insane stats, which I have to clarify this. I will never be able to catch up, etc, blah blah blah. In the CN version, you can trade in a couple of your S-grade skin to roll for random doubles. S-grade, not sure if we're getting that. If we're getting that, that could be a good thing. Again, not advisable to roll for random pieces, but just about 2 days ago, I was thrown an SS skin and I was told to pitch which part I want. And when I Google it up, I Bilibili it up, this is like the second time that the CN did. It's not really that bad. Your progression as an F2P is just super slow. Another complaint I wrote down is technically a controller issue. They did fix that on the 3rd day, but what happened on the 1st day was that you have to switch to a controller mode via the menu, mainly because I think it's because the game is optimized for the PlayStation 5, but eventually on day 3 I noticed that they fixed it. Now you can play on your keyboard and controller anytime, but this again leaves a pretty bad impression. But letting people know out there that this is already fixed, you can just move from your controllers to keyboard without going through the menu. I think I forgot to talk about that, the daily stamina system, right? Eventually, your everyday life is going to be doing this dungeon, and I think you're at level 60 by now as you watch this video, and you're going to do this with your account stamina, and you're going to do this with your alternative character, so it's going to be very boring. It's going to be freaking boring. This is how the daily looks like. If you enjoy doing it, then congratulations, because people are complaining about the stamina system, but this is what you do with the stamina system. Nothing interesting. And it's not fun. The reason why I play Crystal of Atlan because of the combat. Playing a new game plus or making a new character is much more fun than grinding in this game, if I have to be honest with you. I haven't seen content creators complaining about PvP where he couldn't understand that what his opponent is doing. Dude is playing a PvP and expecting a PvE element in it. I even read on Reddit that people saying PvE is so heavily pay to win, no kidding, you're playing a free-to-play game. Go PvP and climb that leaderboard, prove your skill there. If you don't like that, then I can't help you. Just, I don't know, man. Look, I understand criticism should be accepted as a feedback. It means you still have the player's attention and people want you to improve. Remove the time gate and maybe, I don't know, just remove the stamina system from the story because it really kills the game, or maybe reduce the stamina in the story. I really don't have a complaint with the pet gacha system and the skin because in a gacha game, or let's take Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves for example, you get a character for whatever they have. Like they just come with kit, active skill, passive skill, switch skill, and ultimate. The most in the future they'll give you is some number changes to make you understand that, oh, these characters got buff, but they don't do anything new. But in Crystal of Atlan, the reason why I love it is that you get everything from the character that you're playing and you can swap your skills around. You're not doing the same thing with one character, and with level expansion, they give your character more skills to work with and even shifting the meta around. Not to mention that a lot of creators out there are not playing the CN version and they just decided to record whatever they think about the game after playing like 3 hours or the game on day 1. Like I said again, the pet gacha system is technically a loot box system like I mentioned in old school Southeast Asia MMO. They just sprinkle the gacha menu, and since they didn't play CN, we get a lot of free titles, and like I said, I also get some sort of SS skin giveaway. Sometimes at times, right, they give us like strong equipment set selector, eventually leading us not having to craft, but only craft it for our alternative character. Look, we live in a world where drama attracts attention, and when they have attention, they spread false information, while trying to logic with people don't work. And for the F2P players complaining out there, let the whale, they keep the game alive, and if you're in the F2P, just enjoy the game. I don't like to spend a lot of money buying games, hence the reason why I play F2P games or free-to-play games, because I'm an adult and I'd rather use most of my money on my house mortgage or my investment and stuff like that, so that one day I can become a full-time content creator or a full-time dad. 2 content creators that has been doing pretty good job is Favor and Gates. I think that I'm pretty proud of them, especially Favor addressing the issue and Gates making a lot of beginner guide. Well, I'm not going to be so active on Global, just doing my part as I play CN and just voicing out my opinion out there. I'm not really a guide person. I guess. The community are loving the PvP, though I have complaints having one side of people complaining about Starbreaker being too overpowered. Well, some are saying Starbreakers are too weak, and then there are people making Magician very powerful, while people saying Magicians are pretty weak. The PvP community is spiraling up, and people are having opinions and stuff like that. And it's really interesting to discuss or even read what they're talking about. People are loving the PvP and saying that this reminds them of Curse Spell. As far as the Southeast Asia community, I don't think we have a problem. We're pretty cool with most of the thing. Again, my main complaint is just the time gain, nothing else. What's worse is that the Global just gave us another Fall Guys event pretty similar to Tower of Fantasy. And speaking of Tower of Fantasy, I don't think it's a bad game. I will talk about it, but I don't know when I'm gonna talk about it. When I play a Crystal of Atlan, since it's advertised for its combat, I'm not here for like social skill like FF14, Instagram Gmod, or holding hands on Star Resonance. I'm here on Crystal of Atlan because there's no open world. I'm too tired for open world. I love the combat, and that's basically it. And being too strong in this game really ruins the combat for me. If after all this game isn't for you, cool, I understand. I just didn't want misinformation to be spread, but I do have to address that the time gate is just really that bad. But the stamina system really isn't that bad. If you are trying to argue with me, I work in healthcare, and I still think that a person should take a break from 3 to 4 hours. And without account stamina and eventually more things to do, you're gonna play this game daily around 2 or 3 hours. I don't know if I did a good job, but take care. And I really hate the global version for having time gates. That's really just bad. Time gate is useless. It's useless. Anyways, my name is Zackie, and hey, it's just a gaming channel.